Technology is one thing. But anyways, well, good morning, everybody. This is Barbara Ellison, your personality pro, because personality does drive reality. And I'm on a mission to make happiness the norm, rather than the exception, to help people to live happy, healthy, financially free, abundant lives. Well, that's what I love about this show, because you know what? Everybody that we bring onto this show feels the same way, that we just do it in a slightly different way. So first of all, Barbara, how are you doing today? BB1.
BB1, BB2. Yes, I'm doing wonderful, Miss Barbara. And I'm just so delighted because, you always bring the fun when you bring our guests on our show. So I always got to give you so much kudos for that. So much. I mean, this lady works hard for this show by bringing in these wonderful guests, and we don't want to stop that. So, Dr. Heather Tucker, oh my God, I feel like I've been knowing you, but we haven't talked, we haven't really communicated or anything. But I know you, and you are just awesome to me. And so, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you, Barbara, for bringing our amazing guests. And Dr. Heather, how you doing? Before you introduce yourself.
Thanks so much for having me. I just missed that last question, Barbara. You're exactly right. I feel like I've known you for so long, even though we haven't talked, and I'm just so happy to be here with you ladies today. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, we wanted, before we get into our discussion, our conversation today with you, just let people know, what you do. I mean, you have a long list of, titles of what you do, but we want to make sure that you tell the audience that.
Awesome. Yes. So I work with entrepreneurs especially to support them in achieving business, life, harmony, success, because it really is both sides of the same coin. Like, I show people how to stress less, strengthen their relationships, and increase their energy, so therefore they can lead with more momentum and ease, and actually step into that prosperity that we're all called to have. And it's really exciting because my background is in IT. Like, that's where my PhD is, in total different arena. And I left all of that because I knew that I was called for something more, to be able to support people and really strengthening their mind, body, and soul, and stepping into everything that they're called to be. I teach and certify life coaches as well as communication mind experts. So, because when we create a renewed mind and a healed heart, and they're working on one accord, then we are unstoppable. And that's exactly what it's about. Right. So that's pretty much the main gist of some of the stuff that we do. And then the other thing I do is I have an Aloha Mastermind, which is an ohana of family for coaches. It's about no coach left behind, because I've seen so many who have taken the trainings and they go off and they're like so excited, and then life gets in the way. Right. And then slowly they start backing away from that calling. And I'm here to let them know, no, why try to fit in? You were born to stand out. It's time to shine bright and be that light for all the world to see, and show other people how to do the same.
Right. And that's one of the things that we've talked about so often on this show, is that we all have a unique message. There are 7 billion people out on the planet, and there are going to be people that are going to only resonate to each of our messages. Mm-hmm. There is no shortage of people that need to hear the message. And especially now, as more and more countries are reacting to what happened last year, the internet is opening so much more. Now we can talk to people all over the world. We're not limited to our own little backyard. And that's so what true. And I think so many women, especially women, a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're first starting, they're excited, but they don't see that huge vision of, like work locally, but think globally. Yes. Because you never know who knows somebody else that will just catapult you into the global arena. So it's like, wow. So yes. I think that's exactly right.
I love that because it really is. One of the things I would hear some of my coaches say, "Oh, Dr. Heather, there's so much coaches out there," and I was like, the only competition is the one that you create. Reality is there is no competition because there's no coach out there with the same knowledge, skills, and abilities that you have. So step into and unleash your greatness and enjoy that uniqueness that you have to offer. That's so awesome, Barbara.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I don't know, have you guys embraced Clubhouse? I do not go onto it a lot, but after I've done my own personal meditation and time for myself to get my day started. But then there's the mundane things you have to do, like feed your dog and make your bed and all that kind of stuff. So that's when I turn it on. And so this morning I was listening to it while I was making my bed. And one of the show that I just came on to was, Why Are Women Smarter Than Men? I went, oh, I've got to listen to this one. And one of the things and it was a guy talking, he said they were talking about the lessons that they have learned from the women around them. And this one man said, the biggest lesson that I have learned from women is that we can all collaborate and cooperate. Men tend to be as he said, the men tend to be the hunter-gatherers, so that we go out there and we just do it, but it's the women that build the relationships. That's what this show is about, building the relationships. Like Barb just talked about, that we all knew each other, and yet we didn't know each other. And yet look at the first time you and I talked, Heather, it was like, oh, wow. It was like we had known each other for years. And yet we knew of each other, but didn't know each other. And that is what is so fun about this show and about what you do, because that's the thing. We have to get ourselves out there because you never know whose life you're going to impact.
Yes. You talked about Clubhouse. I'm having an issue with that because I can't get on it because I don't have an iPhone. I don't have an iPad. So everybody is just like, it's like, I feel like, back in the school days when you're younger, and it's like you have all the cool kids in the room doing whatever, or that new game they got, and then you can't get the game yet because maybe mama didn't buy it yet. So you're
Right.
like, oh, I can't get the game yet because I didn't get it. My mother didn't buy it. So it's like, I'm just hearing so many wonderful things and networking and people getting, it's like, So it's like, oh, well.
One of the big influencers, and I'm trying to think, I don't remember his name, but that's exactly what he said. He said, well, I don't have I'm a long time Android user and I don't have an iPhone, nor do I want one. But then he kept hearing things about Clubhouse, and he wasn't willing to wait. So he went out and bought one of those cheapy, just minimum. And the only thing he does on it is Clubhouse.
I know. They're getting people to buy cheapy.
And I haven't got on there yet. I mean, I've been hearing so many things about it. So many people say, do it. I am committed to getting on there this week.
Yeah.
Later in the week once I get everything done. But yes.
Yeah, you get to build. You're talking about networking and another whole level. Yeah, another level. Get to meet people. But yeah, I'm like you. Well, Heather, at least you have the equipment, so you can get on there. I got to get the equipment.
It's still by invitation only, so it's kind of still got that little exclusive. Ooh.
Yeah, that was funny too. Yeah.
So.
See, isn't it amazing how technology has changed? I mean, like there are no borders anymore, like you were saying earlier. Nope. No borders at all. I love it.
None.
Worldwide. And the thing with Clubhouse is it's 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I heard people stay on there for like 5-8 hours, whatever. I was like, okay, there's one thing to, get the networking and do, but when you're taking up half of my day or all day because you're trying to get on, they call getting on stage, right. in a room. It's funny how I know this, but I'm not on it, right? I know everybody else that's on it. And I was like, one person said, Barb, I was waiting to get on the stage to talk on, I think it was Grant Cardone or Grant Cardone.
Grant
And I
Cardone.
was like, 8 hours? Well, 8 hours.
Yeah.
And when you said Barbara said, yeah, I'm
Well,
like,
yeah, because one of the things that I've done is on it. So let's chit chat, because then we want to hear about Heather's.
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we got to get the 5 secrets from
Um,
Heather.
but one of the things on Clubhouse is like you listen to the biggies to hear their wisdoms, their tips. That's what I do. But then I go on to the ones that have only like small ones, and those are the ones that you can get on stage with.
Oh, okay, that's
And
smart.
That's a great
Yeah,
tip.
yeah,
Thank you
that's
for
yeah.
that.
that are small, that are just starting, that aren't the Grant Cardones, where there's no hope. Like there's going to be one on today at noon that there's probably going to be thousands of people on there. There is no way on God's earth that you are going to get on that stage until you are at a Forbes Riley stage.
Yeah,
But you know what? There's a lot of us that are just starting out, that we are now starting to do rooms. And we're looking for people to come and join and look for people to collaborate with. Like I have a couple of collaboration things that I'm going to be doing, that we're going to collaborate in a room. And that's how you start. So then you look at the ones that, like, I go into the ones now that have less than 50 people on them, because it tells you how many people are in the room.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So when you see that because there's a little icon, there's a number beside it, how many people are in the room. So I'll go to the ones that have like maybe 50 people in there. And chances are, and if it's a subject that I have interest in and can feel that I can contribute to, then I'll go in and they will ask you if you want to come on stage and be a speaker. Absolutely. Yes. So that's how you do it. But anyways, Heather.
That's it.
You got me
Well, that's a good
excited.
tip.
I'm not going to wait until the end of the week. I'm going to have to try this out today.
See?
I won't get into the time sync, I promise, because I know that can happen.
A time
but I
sucker.
think I'm going to try it out today.
But you know what?
Just to let it suck your time.
I have it on in the background while I'm doing other stuff, because you know what? Let's talk about mindset for a minute. Your mind hears everything.
Mm-hmm.
Your brain hears everything. So you might not be actually paying attention to it, but it's going in. It's still going in.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, it's what's the reticular activation, that all of a sudden it's like, oh, and it'll pique your interest, and you'll hear one little thing. And that's what, and like one of the things that I heard I was making my bed again, because I do that every day. Okay, a quick question. Do you guys make your beds?
Yes, I do.
So usually I don't, but I'm married to the military, and so yes, absolutely got to make the bed. Although I did not make it this morning.
Anyways, fun question, because friends of mine, we have that discussion. It's like, oh no, I don't make my bed. Why should I make my bed? I'm going right back into it. Yeah, but I like a neat room. Anyways, so neither here. So you know what? If you're put in the chat whether you make your bed or not. That'll be a fun question for the show.
You're getting people in trouble, Barbara.
But anyway, so one of the tips that I got was, when you're in Clubhouse, when you're making your profile, make sure you just write the things that come to mind that about you. Like with me, I'm all about personality. But then put a question that would relate to what you do, and then put your link to a freebie that they can download, because then that puts them on that puts them on your email list.
Yeah, see, that's a good another tip.
And so then because they can't, nothing happens in Clubhouse, so they have to go into Instagram or Twitter, and that's where you put your freebie again. So you tell them that there's a freebie, go to Instagram or Twitter to get my freebie. So that's my tip for the day. We are done.
Some good tips. We're gonna have a talk just about what to do with Clubhouse. How to work with Clubhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's your profile.
Yeah. So let's get to Dr. Tucker's 5 steps. She has some good steps that we want to hear.
All right, ladies. Well, it really is about, so I talk about this whole peace under pressure, right? And people are like, how in the world can you have peace under pressure? Like, the world would be in calamity, right? And this is what we experienced last year and even this year. Our homes may be in calamity, and we don't have to be. We can be the calm that actually creates that calm. It's almost like there's these hurricanes that come, but we can become the eye of the storm, the most calm place, and then eventually the storm dissipates. And that's usually what I talk about people. And a lot of it has to do with really getting clarity and understanding and awareness of our emotions and how we're feeling. See, I grew up, I don't know about you, but I grew up where children are seen and not heard, speak when spoken to, come when called, put your feelings in your pocket and keep going. And a lot of that has to do with, my family is really producers and survivors and thrivers. It's about putting food on the table and making sure that everybody's taken care of, as compared to really having that deep connection of love. And so now what I'm going to share with you, these 5 secrets on peace under pressure, is about how to step into not the surface level, but that deep unconditional love, that deep unconditional aloha, so therefore we can be that light. So what's really cool is this acronym is actually an acrostic for the word peace. So you can write down peace on your piece of paper if you're taking notes. And we'll first start with the letter P. P actually has 2 meanings. I could not distinguish between them. So I usually say, okay, it's double P for extra peace. The first P is practice total health. Now, total health is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. And it's a trickle-down effect. A lot of times I used to think back in the day, if I prayed hard enough, things would happen. Or if I worked out hard enough and made things happen on a physical level, it would all just come into fruition. But it was the mental and emotional health that can actually make or break our success, especially the emotional one. So when we have the mental and emotional makes up our mind, and Barbara was talking about personality, right? When we have our mental health and our emotional health operating on the same accord, that creates wisdom. So therefore, the peace from above can come down like a flood to those who earnestly seek it. And it can create that peace within that will automatically manifest the peace with other people. So it's a really, really, really good thing to make sure that we exercise our mind, body, and spirit daily as much as possible. Now, I get it. Sometimes I don't get a chance to do all of it, but every day we have the opportunity to recreate ourselves and do better.
Right.
And so the second term for the word P, and it's just because I love both of them so much, is patient perseverance on the path. Patient perseverance on the path. So one of the things I usually hear is, Dr. Heather, I should have been here by now. I should have did this by now. This situation should have been resolved by now, right? And then I let them know, timing is always perfect. You want to, and I know we want to get to a final destination, but there's a great power in the process. So enjoy the journey and have that patient perseverance and recognize that, what you have is today. The biggest power is stepping into your presence power. The past is gone. A lot of times the past are those things that want to come in and play into our present. But if we can heal the past and live more in the present, that will allow us to create a bigger vision for the future.
Right.
Okay, are y'all ready for E?
Yes.
Okay. So E stands for energy and emotions are one. So emotion. So one of the reason why I deal with, we talk about emotional intelligence, cultivating emotional wisdom. The core of our life coaching certification has to do with holistic emotional intelligence. Our emotions are like our energy. Their energy and emotions, and our emotions can come over us like a wave sometimes. And not only that, like our environments or people even around us, if they're stressed out, stress is contagious, right? So sometimes our stress bleeds on to other people. So recognizing that there's 2 things that impact your body and your cells first and foremost. That is your energy and your environment. So the environment is really powerful. You want to make sure that you have, even if sometimes you may not have a supportive environment, you can be able to create that support. A lot of times people think that they're in it alone, right? There's a lot of isolation. There, no one understands how I feel.
Right.
Well, I can guarantee you that there is always someone who understands how you feel or can connect or can relate, and that you're not in it alone.
Right.
So energy and emotions are one. So as we step up, increase our energy, as we pay attention to our emotions, we have this process where we talk about 3 steps: lean in, let go, and leap forward. This leaning in process sometimes, especially when our emotions can be a little scary, but once we get that awareness of what we need to let go of and actually let go of it,
Right.
the world is your oyster, right? It's totally leaping forward and elevating as much as possible.
Right.
Now, A stands for awareness. Awareness. Right. All amazing change starts with awareness. Awareness of avoidance. Like, what are we avoiding? What are we tolerating? What are the things that can be so small? And this is a really big piece when I talk about business and life harmony. A lot of times the stuff that's happening on the life stuff that can be so small can actually like become big mountains, especially later down the road if we don't pay attention to them. So awareness of what we are avoiding, and also awareness of aloha, awareness of the love that you're giving. Are we giving this surface level love? Are we giving this deep level love? And the more that we're able to cultivate that love within us, the easier it is going to be able to give that love to other people. I remember going to this retreat. So just to kind of let you know, it's almost like fighting against the odds, and winning. In business, there's a 95% failure rate, especially 5% of businesses make it after that first year or two. And in my marriage, there's like a 10% success rate. And one of the reasons why is because there's a lot of trauma that we had to be able to overcome to be able to get to this point. Now, what happens is the biggest difference has to do with doing right more than being right and giving love more than getting even.
Right.
And a lot of times that all judgment, all judgment is self-judgment. It's so funny. Like our relationships reflect what's going on within us. Yes. So the more that we can be able to be aware of that reflection and give that love and give that aloha and let that expand, our love can heal all things. Our love can heal all things. Like, trust me, it's almost like you had to sometimes go through experiences in life to be able to really recognize the power of your love.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. All right, ladies, got 2 more. I hope this is good. This is good.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, awesome. Put it up there.
Okay, so here's C. Courage for self and others. See, each of us so I talk about how everyone has a lion inside. Everyone I always like to ask people, what is their spirit animal, right? But like there's this lion or lioness within us just ready to break free. And a lot of times there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of self-doubt and everything that kind of gets in the way. But when you step into that courage, you can even hold space for other people who might not even be able to know or recognize their greatness yet.
Right.
Oftentimes, the greater your calling, the more stuff you may have gone through. Right? The greater your calling, the more stuff that you have gone through. And it's awesome. Okay, it may not have been awesome when you're going through it, and I get that, but it's awesome because you can be able to relate to other people who may be going through the same thing. And you can show them, okay, well, this is what helped me along my journey. Maybe this can support you. So stepping into our own courage, and we can be able to fully hold that space even for other people and recognize they have a lion in them too.
Right.
And then the last one is expand your supportive environments. Expand your supportive environments. A a lot of times, like I said before, as entrepreneurs feel like I'm in this by myself. No one understands what's happening. Family is probably like, what in the world are you doing? Just go get a job, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All of this noise, right? And I want y'all to know, especially if you were given this vision and there's people around you that don't understand that vision, that is A-okay, because you were given the vision, not them. They were given a different vision, and it's up to them to be able to figure it out. And there's so many environments that you can be able to plug into. So therefore, you know that you're totally supported. You're never alone. You're always covered, loved, valued, and appreciated.
Right.
And so this is a really, really powerful thing, because remember I said before, our environments have everything to do with our success and how we operate. So there was two notes here that I don't remember where they went in this part of the presentation, but I want to share it with you. So seek to understand and then be understood.
Right.
I think a lot of that has to do with even that awareness. Sometimes there may be difficulties going on within someone else, and hurt people. And guess what? Healed people heal people. So if you seek to understand what's really going on at the deeper level, you can be able, that can support you in actually expanding that love. And the second one that I wrote here is, it's not about the temporary, it's about the eternal. Right. It's about the longevity. A lot of times we give up right when the amazing breakthrough is getting ready to happen. And to stay on course, don't give up, never give in, because the victory is right on the other side of the battle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. One time, that is absolutely so cool.
I love it.
And sometimes it is so, when you hear somebody's story like that. Like one time I was listening to Will Smith, and he was talking just about his journey. He has just had a mega impact on so many things. And yet he didn't start out that way. But one time he was talking about when he went skydiving. He said he felt like they had to practically push him out of the plane. But once he got out of once he actually made the decision and went out of the plane, but he talked about all the emotions of going skydiving, where you first say, oh yeah, let's go skydiving, and then all of a sudden somebody else takes it up and says, okay, fine, yeah, let's go skydiving. Oh yeah, now you've committed yourself. Oh brother. And he went through, it's on YouTube. If anybody listening, I would just really encourage you to watch it. Will Smith on going skydiving. Because he equated each one of the emotions of the first time going skydiving, to building your business or your dream or whatever it is that you're going after. And I was like, that's exactly the ride. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do this. What do you think you're doing from other people? So, yeah, absolutely the truth. So, yeah, it was a really cool thing. Like, I remember the very first time that I decided to do like an online business. It was like, I can remember saying to my upline, my hot market is colder than the cold market. Because they just did not, didn't. It was like, why do you want to do that? But it wasn't that they didn't believe in me, but that's their protection mode. When you have normally had like especially if they're like a 9 to 5, you'll get a real job. And entrepreneurs, yeah, we're just different.
We take those leaps every single day in our lives. Yeah, we do.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at us coming on this show. And Barb, the things that you do within the Diamond Factor, it's like, but every day you have to think about, okay, am I going to do this? Yeah, I'm going to do this. Let's just do it. And yet other people look at me and go, how do you do that? You get that, Barb and Heather? You'll say, how can you do that? How can you go on a show and talk to people? Well, how can you talk to a camera in front of you? Well, it's not.
You don't know if anybody's watching you or listening or even care.
And you know what, the thing I think, and we've talked about this before on this show, is that I think what stops people, and I think, Heather, that you would really agree with this, lots of times what stops people is they're so afraid of making a mistake.
So here's what's funny, right? And this is what I is so important, because I'm a recovering perfectionist, you know, especially transitioning from from the military employment to self-employed to business owner. And I'm working on that investor piece. You know, there's always this difficulty with time and money. And I want to let you know, if you're listening, perfectionism is poverty. Perfectionism is paralysis. Perfectionism will prevent you and procrastinate you from really stepping into the calling that you have. And literally, I used to procrastinate greatly, right? I used to procrastinate so greatly, like, okay, I'll just do a little bit, you know, I'll just do a little bit here and there. But lives were literally being lost because of my procrastination. So everyone listening, and, you know, know that if you were called for greatness, you can hear the call for your life, or you can continue to endure the pain, fighting against it, beating your head against the wall, because there's people really waiting on you to show up.
Right, because that they're only going to hear your voice, the way you say it.
Exactly.
Thank you for bringing, Doctor. Thank you for bringing that up, because I mean, I wasn't always like I mean, I like things done right, but I was like, okay, we just got to do this, you know, let's do it, see what happens. And then I had people around me that were a lot of perfectionists, and they would kind of hold back. Well, wait a minute, no, we can't do this yet, you know. And then all of a sudden, the word paralyzed came to mind. You know, because you had some other things, Doctor, but you were talking about it could stop you and hold you. And I was thinking you can even get paralyzed from it, because it's like you just steady having to make sure it's right, and you never took a chance just to put it out there and say, okay, let's see how this is going to land.
Right.
And then you can always perfect it as you're going too. I always tell people you can make tweaks, you can make changes.
You know what? There's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah.
Not in our lifetime. I mean, Jesus was perfect, but
that's the only.
Last time I looked, none of us were the hip.
So I just wanted to say that it's okay to be perfectly imperfect. Like, I love being perfectly imperfect and owning it, right? And that takes the pressure off. So I love that. Thank you.
I love your 5 steps. Oh my God, this is awesome. And I love how you said heal people, heal people. That was very profound. Heal people, heal people. Right. So if you're healed, if you went through, because I always think about all of our stories are so precious. I always say that. I mean, Barbara, we've talked many times, a long time, and she's told me so many things that she, in her lifetime. And she's loving, to put out there, she wants happiness to be the norm, because I know she's seen a lot of things that, wasn't so happy. And I know she's like, no, I want to change this whole thing. Why do we always wake up thinking about, oh no, this might happen, or oh no, I'm not feeling this way? It seems like we always had to wake up in that. Why can't you wake up and say, hey, this is a good life? Yes, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna just do it. But no, it seemed like we have to go through that little, and then we get to the happy. It's like, let's start here and then let's find the happy. But it'd be nice if we just have the happy as soon as we wake up.
I think for me, one of the things that I have really realized is that pursuing the pursuit of happiness. It's absolutely, the thing is that when we have that underlying joy, then when you have that underlying joy, that because like life is going to happen to you, and 90% is the stuff that's not so great, but you know what, the 10% is how you handle the stuff that's not so great. And when you have that underlying joy that that Heather is talking about, and that confidence and that peace, well, then when we do have something that's not quite so great happen to us, okay, fine, yeah, I'm not so happy right now about this. However, it's not going to stymie you and stop you. It might stop you for a little bit, but then what are you learning from it? And then when you learn from it, that becomes part of your message. Like, I never in my lifetime thought that I would be a widow at 60 and bankrupt, and then bankrupt. Through no fault of my own, but the company that I was doing marketing for got shut down. I lost everything. Can't imagine. And the part was that, I felt like I was so alone until I told the first person. And I went, I can't do this on my own. I've got to get help. And then it was like, oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, that happened to me too. And it was like,
a lot of me too's. A lot of me too's came. That's good.
But it's getting out of that because it's don't you think that it's the devil that tries to keep us on our own? He tries to keep us in the darkness that we're alone. But once you say I think that awareness that when I cannot do this on my own, and you make that first little olive shoot out there that, oh gee, maybe there is somebody, and then you realize, oh brother, you wouldn't believe how many people, and then for me, then it was the people that said, oh yeah, I've been bankrupt 4 times. What are you talking about?
See, that's why I was saying earlier, Barbara, that the stories are so important to tell. Because like you said, you had some people, oh shoot, that's my 3rd time going through that. Now I finally got it right. Some people say that. Right. And you feel like, oh, what a relief. I'm not in the boat all by myself. I'm not feeling, like a failure, and everything. So,
and as my one girlfriend said, she said, it's just all relative. Some people go bankrupt for $100,000. She said, but sometimes her sister did, but it was for like $250,000, something like that. So it's like, it's all relative. It's all, it just, So,
what I learned is that the enemy preys on your negative emotions, right? I learned this a while ago. Like, I used to, so I can smile now and you see this joy and it's really exuberant. And I remember being in that time where I would look in the mirror and I hated everything that I saw. And now I look in the mirror and I love everything that I see. Yeah. And I'm like, if I can come from this bottomless pit, I remember waking up like, oh my gosh, why did I wake up? Now I got to get ready to go to work like this, just a drudgery to the day. And then now it's like waking up, looking forward to the day, knowing that you're living your calling. So people used to know me as, oh my gosh, Dr. Heather, she's so happy. Like, she's always smiling. But it was like really this smile that was just outwardly, it looked good, but inwardly it was hell, right? So I talk about how our test is our testimony and how we don't have to have a great past to have a great future. And there's a message in the mess, right? And it's beautiful because, Barbara, as you were sharing your story, just this little bit right here, it's so powerful because you're right. You're not alone. And then when that whole part about how he'll make you feel like you're alone, like you're not valued, you're not good enough. Like, who are we to do this? And then it's like, oh my gosh, who are we not? Who are we not trying to fit in when we were born to stand out?
Yeah. We're precious in God's sight, and we're here for a reason.
Yep.
Yes.
Message in the mess. Absolutely.
I love it. Ooh, there's just so many. I'm loving this. We got to bring you. Okay, again, Barbara, we got to bring Dr. Heather back.
I would love to be back, ladies. Absolutely.
You've been a star of a star. I mean, you're amazing. I knew it. See, and I haven't got a chance to talk to her like I wanted to. And thank you, Barbara, for bringing me out.
Thank you.
This was a treat. This was a treat. We really do. And I love how you do the aloha. I always think about, I want to go to Hawaii. I mean, not right this second. But I do want to go there. I'm just trying to get to Hawaii.
I go every couple of years, the Big Island. As a matter of fact, the last time I was there, it was right before the volcano hit, right? And I was meditating at the volcano literally like a week and a half before it went off. And that was the message that came, is that, Heather, you have to be the peace in the midst of the chaos. And all of a sudden, boom.
Wow. Isn't that wild? How as soon as you did all that, and then see?
Yes.
Timing. Yeah. Well, I mean, we have to. Okay, so now with the time, well, talking about timing, I know we have to close out, but I'm loving this conversation. I'm loving it, but we have to definitely. We got to take Barbara. We believe me, we got to put this on. We got to bring Heather back. I want to remind. I want to keep that momentum and don't forget.
I
But
love it.
so, any last thoughts for the listeners, Dr. Heather, before we close out?
Well, I want to be able to give a free gift to your listeners if possible.
Oh,
I have a free guide, and it's another 5 secrets. I know I'm a fan of 5 secrets, and I love secrets because once you share them, then sharing is caring. So there's 5 secrets to your ultimate biz life harmony that you can actually access on my website, www.anotherlevelliving.com. All spelled out, www.anotherlevelliving.com. And it's a really great acronym for love. And then there's a golden key secret. That's the last one. So definitely check that out. And also, just to let you know, the question is, are you living your calling? And then how do you want to be while you're doing it? Because a lot of times we get caught up in the do. And I was that person. But the reality is, it's about being everything that we've been called to be. So therefore, we can do everything that we're called to do. And then ultimately, we can be able to have everything that we're called to be able to have in our life. So don't get caught up in the busy. Just focus on the be. You. Like I had to focus on the be to be me. And enjoy your prosperity because it's already here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Wow. So I focus on the B and then the other B, so we get you.
With the BBs.
So the BB to get you. The H.
Yeah.
I love it. So everybody, I put it down there. There's no excuse that if you can't get her link, because it's right there, and I will be make sure I post it. So I always tell people, well, I didn't get that. So I posted it. So please reach out to this wonderful, wonderful woman and coming on the show today. It has been, I mean, you just made my whole week, Dr. Heather. You really did. And all these good tips of peace.
Oh,
wow. Yes.
My
Yes.
honor and
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I'm so happy to be.
Yeah, and so often I think people they just think that's elusive. Well, how can I become in what's all the things that's happening? And like right now, we've talked about it before. Like the suicide rate is going up because people are not embracing the peace of it. There can be peace within the chaos. It's
and there's always hope.
There's always
there's always hope, even when we feel like the hope is fainted and is gone. It could be a little minute of peace.
Mustard.
There's always
And that's why I like coming on these shows and seeing people like you, Dr. Heather, and Barbara, of course, Barbara, my other partner in crime, because it keeps me grounded. It keeps me, because I live alone. So it's nice to have these shows. Maybe I use it as therapy. I don't know. To get the network and see and look at these summits I mean, there's so much out there, so much rich information. So I always tell people, don't miss out. There's a lot of stuff online that you can take in and learn. I mean, and it's a lot of stuff that's free. I mean, a lot of stuff that's free. So yeah, take advantage of it and get that information. Yeah.
And even if you pick, my thing is that if I listen to something, if I get one nugget, it was worth the time to listen to it.
Yes, definitely.
So if one thing that Dr. Heather said today touches you, it was worth it. It was worth the time to listen.
Well, it's got to be more than one thing. I don't know. If they just have one thing, then something's totally wrong in their head been saying through this whole show.
Sometimes things hit you though.
But yeah, get at least 2 or 3.
Oh, yeah, they were watching me on that one.
Yeah. So everybody, we will see you. Thank you again, Dr. Heather, for coming on and just making us smile and taking the time for the happiness that we always look for. And Barbara, anything, because I know you're always doing things. So anything coming up for you?
I am just doing all sorts of things, doing interviews for Barbara and Friends, and I'm excited about that. Well, okay. One of the biggest things for me right now is I got my own internet service so that I have a steady internet. I love my family, but they stream. I mean, when you've got 13 people in the house, it was just too much. And I just finally said, okay, I'm going to be selfish. And you know what? Sometimes you have to be selfish. If you know that you need something, then do it.
Yes, definitely.
Because it's not I was getting so stressed about doing interviews and doing this show because what if the internet and it was making me crazy. And so often that happens. So when you see something that this one little thing will make my life easier, then do it. It is not being selfish, it's being self-care.
Yes, it is. And by doing that, you are helping yourself so people can hear you, and you're helping them in their lives by coming on okay with your internet. So see, it still works out that you're helping others.
I just got to share this. You're right. Like, okay, so self-care is not selfish, right? And a lot of times, especially as women, we're taught to give to this person, give to that person, give to this person until you're like depleted. But we cannot pour out from an empty cup. And that was like really the biggest game changer, is to know that self-care is not selfish, because then you can be able to pour out love from your overflow. So it used to be like 75 to 80% for everybody else and only a little bit of 20% for me. Now it's like 95% of me for me. And then that 5% seems like 100% to everybody else.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, because you got yourself prepared so you can, be that person for people. Yeah.
Rest. You're just, it has made such a difference of just being able to communicate with people. And there's that,
Yeah, I say, I feel. Because one thing about it, people can tell when you're feeling, when you're not in your zone, as I say, or flowing, as I say. You be like, okay, can I listen? Okay, what did you say again? You didn't get no rest. You're sitting there like this. I'm trying to listen to you.
And even just the little things, like I love my background. I have my pretty background that I wasn't. I had this dark background because of the way I had to do, because I had to be on my phone. And now that I'm on my computer, I can put up my nice background. It's got a little lighting behind it. It looks pretty. I think I love it. It looks pretty.
It looks really pretty. I was going to ask you where you got it.
And it's pretty. So I was like, why have I not done this? And then, of course, then you beat yourself up and go, why didn't I do this years ago?
And then that has to stop. You got to stop that quickly, because then you get all into.
Because otherwise, you go down that rabbit hole. And now I love my new that I have a new computer and a new service. So it's like, this was take care of Barbie. Take care of Barbie.
So before we get into another conversation that's going to be so awesome, we need to do part 2. So I'm going to close by saying thank you, everybody. And always, as we say, to always share your happiness and shine it every single day of your life. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.